you must have seen 1, 2, 3 or even more videos in your recommended feed about this game, New World. And is it right to have so many videos about a game that is going to release in less than 3 months and we know so little about? Well, yes, for starters, it's created and funded by one of the biggest companies on earth, Amazon. Although it looks very promising, there were also some shifts in the core game design and there has been some drama over at Reddit about the game. I discuss a number of topics in this video, so use the timestamps in the video description if you want to hop to a specific segment. Hey guys, it's me, Kyo, and let's discover what we know about the New World MMO. But before we do that, make sure to please YouTube a little bit by subscribing to my YouTube channel. Alright, let's get into it. So, what is New World and where is it set? Like World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2, Elder Scrolls Online and many more, New World is an MMORPG, a vast world where players come together, fight towards the same goal or fight each other in PvP. The game is set in the 7th century in a somewhat darker, supernatural version of North America. Specifically, it is set on an island that is rich with 17th century elements. This world is called Eternum and has attracted a lot of adventurers to it because of a substance called Azoth. Azoth is a magical force that promises to hold the source of eternal life. However, there is an evil force at play in Eternum. Azoth can either turn humans into bestial husks and others can get power above all imagination. This force is also referred to as the corruption. While playing New World, you will face the corruption together with your fellow other players. But you must also conquer areas that have been captured by other players. So this means that there are elements of PvE and PvP involved. Word has it that most of the game was mostly focused on PvP, but shifted a bit more to the PvE side. More on that later. The story really appeals to me. Although magic and corruption are seen in other MMOs, there are few MMOs that are set in a 17th century time era. Most MMOs are set in the medieval era or have a futuristic setting. When I'm playing MMOs, I'm mostly interested in the PvE aspect of the game. Anyway, the way Amazon Game Studios brought PvP to New World is something that I can get into. Join a group of players, fight against other players to capture territories, and then venture out to defeat the corrupted enemies. Yep, this is a setting I would get into. At first, I thought you could either play as a warrior type or an archer type character. However, there are some pictures of mages and players using staffs in combat. Luckily, you are not tied to just one class in New World. You can play anything you like, there are no classes. You can create builds that fit your current playstyle and switch these around if you want to play something else. At least, that's what the official FAQ tells us. Alright, that's a short, general outline of what New World actually is. But what makes New World stand out above other MMOs like Guild Wars 2 and World of Warcraft? What are its unique features? One feature are the settlements. Settlements are, from the looks of it, small towns or cities that can be claimed by a group of players. These settlements serve as a base where players can craft, trade, live and support their faction through faction missions. Early on in New World, a player can choose between 3 different factions, which are currently unknown, and then they can create a company. From the looks of it, a company is similar to a guild in other games. With a company, which is a group of players, you can gain control over a settlement. And with a settlement comes a fort. These forts are the defensive points of a settlement and are used to keep players and monsters away from the settlement. Yes, it looks like you have to defend your settlement in a PvP and a PvE way. We just talked about a company, a group of players that can capture a settlement. Well, a company needs a leader, right? In a news article on the New World website, this leader is called a governor. This is usually the player that created it. It seems like this governor is basically a guild leader. A governor can upgrade your settlement by starting town projects, which are quests for players part of your company that can help the settlement grow and improve. The governor can also set taxes, which is great. I play a video game to get away from paying taxes, yet I have to pay taxes in this world as well. Luckily, the governor does not have to manage everything by himself. He can appoint several other players to a consul that can help him manage a settlement and its inhabitants. The next feature I want to talk about is player housing. Although it is seen in many MMOs, this is going to be a big part in New World. Games like Guild Wars 2 have a home instance and World of Warcraft has its faction halls and the garrison, but they are minor parts of the game and can become obsolete whenever a new expansion comes out. The interesting part of player housing in New World is that the houses can help a settlement grow. These are the small towns we have just talked about. Whenever a player belongs to a specific faction that owns a settlement, you can buy a house there. If you purchased your house in a settlement, you're eligible to receive a lifestyle buff. What these buffs do is currently unknown or have yet to be verified. From an image on the official site, it looks like these houses can be decorated but can also be used to fast travel to and gain bonuses from trophies you have collected. However, you must pay a small in-game tax or fee to maintain these buffs. From the looks of it, you need a settlement to further improve your skill and be able to play the game efficiently. However, this comes at a cost. There is a tax that we have to pay to our settlement and we have to pay for our housekeeping. Although I think the fees will be minor, I think it is wise to watch your in-game income and manage that so you won't fall short when you have to pay up. The last feature I want to talk about for now are the 50 vs 50 battles. So like I mentioned before, the original focus of New World was a PvP focused survival MMO. However, from the looks of it, it has shifted its focus a little bit more to the PvE and RPG aspect. Also, remember when I said you had to defend your settlement from other players? Well, this is it. It's the 50 vs 50 battles. Although there is little to be found on the official website, a recent PC Gamer article has brought this to my attention. In these 50 vs 50 battles, you must defend your settlement against other players. But if you don't care about fighting other players, you can also fight AI. So you can defend your settlement no matter if you favor PvE or PvP. While I'm reading through articles about this, it gives me a little bit of a world versus world feeling that we have in Guild Wars 2. This mode is also heavily focused on capturing keeps and castles. While you have managed to get a keep or castle, you get experience, karma, and other additional buffs. I'm expecting something similar for a New World. Nothing much else can be found about this feature just yet, apart from the settlements and the houses we discussed before. Although little is known, it is something to look forward to. Alright, New World looks good to me so far. Something I must check out for myself, but what does the community have to say for it? When I was browsing online for some information about the game, I quickly stumbled on a few Reddit threads which weren't too favorable about New World. It is not clear to me if these people actually played the game or if they are just fans. The most notable threads I found were about the changes to the PvP system. This mostly had to do with the option to opt into PvP and higher level players or more experienced players constantly ganking new and less experienced players. The core philosophy was, from what I've understood, is to have PvP always on. This would make sure you could always attack other players and you had to be on your guard all the time. Although this does sound pretty exciting and would result in a more intense gameplay experience, I do think that it should not be possible to constantly gank new and inexperienced players. I understand that this is not what the core philosophy of the game was about, but it is bad from a gameplay and business perspective. A new player won't be able to advance further on into the game since there are better players constantly preventing them to progress. This will result in that player not having fun in the game, which leads to the player eventually quitting the game. If this small percentage of players keeps the vast majority of players under control, it will lead to unfavorable reviews for the game. But is breaking your promise or philosophy bad in this case? Well, that's up to you. For me, I think it's a good change. This makes the game more appealable for the vast majority of MMO and PvE players. However, I do understand that hardcore PvP players are somewhat disappointed by this change. I hope that Amazon can create equal ground so that both player types can enjoy the game. Don't be discouraged by Reddit though, it is a very vocal place and it's good, and don't get me wrong here, but it is a small group of fans and players which are not representative of the whole group of fans or players. With the drama out of the way, should we be excited for a New World? Again, this is up to you in combination of what we know about the game now. For me, I'm pretty excited, but I do also have some concerns. So the game can be bought for $40 or euros on Steam, so I doubt that there will be a cash shop that grants you significant bonuses over others. A pay to win aspect is most likely not going to be in there. Also, some of the survival features look appealing to me. However, we just know so little about the game yet. There are very very few official articles about the game. Their YouTube channel only has about 5 videos, which don't show that much gameplay footage. And did they make a successful shift from full PvP to a more PvE focused game? The recent PC Gamer article I mentioned before stated that New World will be out sometime in May, and developers say that there's no reason to expect a delay. So with less than 3 months on the clock, we should have a full game on Steam. I'm excited for it, and while the little information about the game leaves some room for speculation, it also gives some concern about the game, that it might not be fully finished yet. Only time will tell. I expect to see more updates and gameplay about this game very soon. Now, where should we look to stay up to date? Well, you can subscribe to me. Okay. But there is also another YouTube channel that covers every little aspect of the game that we know so far. Sir Medieval makes weekly or sometimes even daily videos about New World and uses credible sources to get his information. Next to that, keep an eye out on the official website, of course. If you have any other source of information you would like to share, leave it in the comments. I will discuss major announcements if they are coming. Make sure to subscribe to my channel to stay up to date about New World, Guild Wars 2, World of Warcraft and other MMOs. For now, I would like to thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Peace!